Welcome back, everybody, on this beautiful Saturday morning. The weather is warming up. It's going to be a glorious 45 degrees today. I know, it's pretty cold, but it's been a lot colder, so 45 is going to feel nice when it's nice and sunny. It'll feel like 50. Today, we are continuing our how-to series. In the last video, we talked about finding market direction, whether we are bullish or bearish, and who is in control. This video, we're continuing the series on support and resistance. We're going to be talking about finding support and resistance, how to draw it, what to look for, and that type of thing. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Mal. I'll put a picture up of me so you know what I look like. I'm a day trader. I do some investing for dividends as well on the side. And I started this channel to help beginners get started. If you're looking to get started in trading stocks and you don't know where to start, or you're still a beginner, you're still trying to figure out the basics of how to tell if we're bullish or bearish, how to draw support and resistance, you're trying to figure out how the heck do you get in, how do you trade breakouts and different setups and wedges and flags. This is what the channel is dedicated to do. Through my journey, I noticed a lot of channels talk about the advanced things. They're talking about level 2. They're talking about options. They're talking a lot about where they place the trade, which is great, right? I loved watching all those videos as I was learning, but I noticed there's not too many channels that are talking about beginner basics, where to start trading when you don't know where to start. And that's what we're focusing on in this series. So on the chart in front of you, we're looking at Activision Blizzard, ticker symbol ATVI in the top left-hand corner. And what I did was, let me try this out. What I did was, here's the ticker symbol right up here. And I'm actually using a new tool I downloaded. So hopefully this will help for things to get a little bit clearer and see them a little bit better. So first things first, we're looking at obvious levels, right? When you're drawing support and resistance, you want to look at obvious levels. Now, right now, we're on the daily chart. You can see that right up here. And when we're looking at obvious levels, pick the things that stick out to you. I put more weight on the most recent price action, meaning that support and resistance areas where price got rejected or held most previously is more important than the stuff in the past. So something that happened 2 days ago or a month ago is going to be a lot more valued, or we can put a lot more weight on that in terms of it would be a lot more important than something that happened a year or 3 years ago. All right, so if we're looking at support and resistance areas, first key area that sticks out at me, this right here. See this top right here? This is the first thing that I see, right? Why? All right, check this out. See this here? See this here? Two tops, right? See this right here? Now, support and resistance are areas. They're not a price. They're not a line. It's an area where price either got rejected and it went lower, or it was held up. So here is how support and resistance typically works. So we have a stock and it starts coming up like this. Then we have a retracement, which is normal, right? Then we break this high here. So if we're looking at this high right here, this forms a point of resistance. So what we could do is we could actually draw a line of resistance right here, right? Even before we break it. So let's say we haven't broken it yet. Let's say we're here. As soon as we come up and then we get rejected, we form in a line of resistance. So then once we break out, let me switch colors. Still trying to get used to this thing. So then once we break through this, once we break out, right, and go higher, by the way, this is a breakout. This is what I trade. Once we break through and go higher, previous resistance now turns support. And we can expect a bounce higher, right? So this area, so the area that used to be resistance now turns support. See how that works? So what are we looking at here? Let's go through the next one. See this top? What's this top? Before we even break through it, we're forming an area of resistance for the time being. This is resistance here. Now, if we, let me erase this and then, so now again, if we break through this and come back down, previous resistance turns support. Okay, so that's typically how market structure works. And then we start to come up and looking left, we have another top, which forms another line of resistance, which we could then come out and then retest. And that is market structure. Let's go back to the chart. So we have our line of, we have structure right here, right? So why am I picking this level? Bam, 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 right there. Now, this area here is a little bit choppy. We kind of chopped around. There is a bounce here. There is a small bounce here, right? And then there's also a bounce here, and we poked through the top. Then there's also, we held here. So we kind of struggled, and this area is just an area of consolidation. But the most obvious levels stick out, right? So pick the most obvious levels. Again, we have another obvious top right here as well. Right? Are you seeing this? Starting from this top, which is very obvious, we draw right across. There's another one. So if we start here, there's one top. There's two. Then we broke out and we retested it as support right here. Then we broke through it, came back, tested it as resistance. News came out, so we gapped above this line and the next line. But if you continue, where did we come back right into? Bang. That same line as before. So this is another strong line. And this whole area between these two lines now is a range. So we were trapped in this range from the bottom to the top for a little while until we broke through. Then we came back down to retest it again, creating a higher high than before, which is a bullish sign. We're continuing up. So let's continue. See this here? See this here? See this here? This right here? Okay. These are areas that stick out to me. Now, if you're not seeing them just yet, it's okay. Let me redraw that. That's a little bit low. All right. So if you're not able to see them yet, that's okay. So take your time, go through, pick some charts randomly, and then just go through and plot support and resistance. You have to train your eyes to see these areas. Everything in trading is training your eyes until things pop out at you. And as soon as you look, you're picking out significant highs or significant points of structure. You're not worried about every tiny little thing. You're just picking out significant clues, right? So one word of caution: support and resistance areas are not an instant buy and sell signal. Okay, Those are areas that we're looking for to see if buyers or sellers are interested in those areas. All right, so moving on. I hope this is making sense to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I try to make these videos with as much value as possible. So if you're enjoying them, hit the like button, hit the bell icon along with the sub button. It'll help the videos grow and I can continue to make these. So moving on, there's lots of choppiness here, right? But what I want to focus on is the more recent stuff. And the most obvious level, let me delete this. I want to clean it up. The most obvious level to me is right here. See these bottoms? Right? This, and there's actually a white line. That's where price is now. And in my previous video, I talked about this area to be careful because there's actually a line of resistance we're into. So if we grab it from here, we can actually start from here, but then it gets people confused because we kind of chopped around this area for a while. So if we grab the line from here, it makes it a little bit easier to see. This choppiness is this choppiness used to throw me off a lot, and I wasn't sure, do I draw it here? Do I draw it here? What about this bottom? Do I draw it here? What about this? What you don't want to do is drive yourself crazy with the little insignificant structures. Pick out the most obvious ones for now. Pick out the areas that stick out, right? And then you can go through and draw them. So I want to place this back. I want to put this one back. So we have, this is typically what I do is I take the most recent price action. I don't go all the way back. This goes all the way back to 5 years or 6 years or something like that. So this is back in 2012 or whatever. So just pick out the most obvious points of structure. So now, if we're tracing our line, right, and price, see how price came down and we had a bounce right here? And then there's a huge gap. Earnings came out and they were bad. So then we kind of had a sell-off and we came up to test this area and the price got rejected, creating a line of resistance. If we had broken through this area and came back down, this would be support. And that's actually what we did here. We broke through and we tested it as support once. We came back down, tested it as support again, this time creating a higher low than the previous low. You see this low here? This low is higher than this low, which to me is telling me that is a bullish sign. And if you know anything about trend lines, you can actually do this. That is now creating a trend line. You can connect the bottoms and start to create a trend line. But I don't want to get into trend lines here. That's a little bit more advanced. Let me delete some of these. So that's what happened. I hope you're starting to see what's happening and starting to read structure. And like I've said before, if you're learning and if you're having a hard time reading structure, trace it. Draw, get a line tool, get a pencil, get something that helps you create these lines. Actually, let me delete this because this never happened. This is a what if scenario. And by drawing this out, right, there's a double bottom here. And if you just go through and you draw this out, you can start to see how price flows, and then you start to find the same areas get constantly retested as support and resistance. And if you're not sure, always look left. Structure will leave you clues as to what's going on. Last time in my video, I talked about this area right here. I talked about this area right here because looking left, structure is leaving us a clue that we are right into resistance. Now, what does that mean? We're into resistance. Let me delete this box. Could we break out and go lower? We could. Could we break through the resistance, retest it as support, and go higher? Absolutely. So if I'm not sure what we're doing, why am I saying to be careful? Well, resistance is an area where price is having a hard time breaking through. So now, actually, if I zoom in, this area right here is something to be careful about, right? This is the whole idea. We need to see, are the sellers stepping in at this area or are the buyers stepping in? We don't just blindly sell because it's at resistance. As a matter of fact, if you look on the chart, there's resistance right here. See it? There's support right here. What did we do? Let me clear this. I want to make this chart a little bit bigger so you can see it. If I drag this out, it becomes a little bit easier to see. So we have our resistance line right here. Look, we just went over this. What is this? We come up, bang. People say, wait a minute, the stock is overvalued. We're not buying anymore. Have a nice pullback, which is totally normal. Then we come up into it again. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. This one poked through just a little bit and got rejected. We came down, double topped, and then we sold off, right? Then we come through it again. Now buyers are saying, wait a minute, we've tested this area 3, 4 times. This looks like a good breakout is possible. And we actually broke through, right? Then we came up, came down and tested it as support. Let me back up. See this wick right there? Even though it's not technically sitting on the line, you got to remember, this is an area, right? So if we delete this, let me grab my box, change my color to white, and let's just make a box here because this is an area. And so the idea is, the reason why I'm drawing it here is because these wicks are in the box and these wicks are in the box. So this is an area of value. What used to be resistance, right, now becomes support. So we come down, we break through, and then we come down to test it once. We come up a little bit higher, breaking the previous high, creating another line of resistance turn support. Then we come back down to test this thing again, and then we retest it again. So we got 3 attempts. So we actually have multiple attempts, but major attempts. We have multiple retests of structure. 1, 2, 3, and then we actually have a couple small ones right here. And on the 3rd attempt, people said, okay, this area looks like it's holding. This is a good area to buy. Now we look for a potential breakout pattern or a pin bar, which we have a pin bar right here. So you could have bought at the high of this pin bar. So I hope this helps. I'm going to stop it here. It's turned into a longer video. If you have any questions, leave me some comments below. I hope this provided some good value to you. It's my passion to help people. I like making these videos. I'll continue making them as long as you guys are enjoying them. And the idea behind this series is to go step by step and not to overwhelm anybody, but for you to actually get some good value and to learn from them. So, all right, thanks for being here. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in my next video, which should be on Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, telling the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed it, that there's quality content in this video so it can get recommended and help more people. And also, if you don't want to miss the next episodes, hit the sub button, hit the bell icon. YouTube no longer recommends every video just because you're subbed. So if you don't hit that bell icon, you're going to miss videos. So if you're enjoying this and you want to follow along, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.